This week on Cartoon Dumpster Dive, we cover the cartoon Bump in the Night. Joel.
Yes, Andrew.
We're technically in week 2 of spooky season.
Oh,
And
spooky dookie.
Spooky dookies. And
Yeah.
so usually, the week before, we would have covered something also spooky, but we lost a week because of a hurricane. So we
Yep.
had to do the request to Sam and Max, but we're in it. So we could do like how the Simpsons do the Treehouse of Horrors, where they don't line up sometimes and they just play them in November anyway. So we could make the first week of November the final spooky week. So we have
we
4
can.
spooky cartoons. But this week, it's been a while since we've done claymation.
When was the last time we did claymation?
The PJs.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I
Those
forgot. The
PJs.
projects.
Yeah, man.
Living in the PJs.
Speaking of pretty good theme songs, let's review this one.
Let's hit it.
I'm a wild green guy living under the bed. I gobble up a sock before you turn your head. Like a boat to light, I'll make your heart jump. My name is Mr. Bumpy. I go bump, 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 yeah, bump.
Bump, bump, bumpity bump.
Everybody bump.
Bump, bump, bumpity, yeah. He goes 100 miles an hour, he's big dynamite. His name is Mr. Bumpy, he's a bumping and night. It's Bump with Squishy.
She's my very best pal.
Bump with Molly.
She's my favorite gal. Bump, a closet monster, indestructo too. But those guys don't bother Bumpy. He knows what to do. Say bump.
Bump, bump, bumpity bump.
Everybody bump.
Bump, bump, bumpity, yeah. He goes 100 miles an hour, he's big dynamite. His name is Mr. Bumpy, he goes bumping and night.
Dang.
It could be a little shorter.
That is my one complaint on this.
Yeah,
is
like maybe
just
5 seconds. By like 5 seconds. I would say it would be almost perfect if it was just 5 seconds short.
clocks in at a full minute.
Yeah. I
full
feel
minute.
like if it was at 45 seconds, it'd be
Yep.
perfect.
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 Uh,
But really, I give it about a 7.
I was going to give it an 8. I enjoyed it. It's very fun, very kind of that ragtime, honky tonk kind of feel. I like it.
Yeah. Very jazzy. Very upbeat jazz.
Yep, there you go.
Well, Joel, how did this show get made?
So, Bump in the Night is, like you mentioned already, stop motion animation. It was released on ABC from 1994 to 1995, created by Ken Pontac and David Blandman Ichioka. So the series actually started out as a series of ad bumps that would air on ABC's Saturday morning lineup in 1993.
Yeah.
And they just loved it and decided to give these two guys a shot in making a full-fledged like cartoon. They called it Bump in the Night, kind of as a, throwback to, hey, we started out as Bumps. And also,
yeah, it's just
the main
so
character.
funny that's why his name is Mr. Bumpy.
yeah,
And it's called Bump in the Night because he was just advertisement bumps in the middle of other cartoons.
exactly. It's hilarious that this is where the show got its start at. Ran for a total of 2 seasons, 26 episodes, basically 45 little mini segments, and a movie or a special.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they actually have a Christmas special. I thought that was neat. Maybe something we should review near Christmas.
Ooh, yeah,
Ooh.
let's. So, at least for a bonus. So, can we talk about Ken Pontac and David
Let's.
Bellman Ichiko before we get anywhere else?
Please, I kind of want to talk about these two guys.
So, there's not a lot about them. But
Yep.
I do know that Ken Pontiac, he's a writer, but he's got his first writing credit, which I feel like really helps out with why Bump in the Night reminded me of what this show is. But he wrote for Gumby.
Yep.
And he did Mighty Max, Bump in the Night, Extreme Dinosaurs, The Legend of Calamity Jane, Reboot, Roswell Conspiracies, Alien Myths and Legends, and all that keeps going down. And he's actually written 2 comic books. He wrote Justice League Unlimited, number 44, and Wacky Raceland, a miniseries. He wrote Wacky Raceland issues 1 through 6, which is the post-apocalyptic Wacky Racers miniseries.
There was a post-apocalyptic
There was
Wacky
this
Racers?
weird thing that WB and DC, when they made these, like, because there was this one, and then there was post-apocalyptic Scooby-Doo.
Okay.
And then there was another post-apocalyptic comic, but they kind of just took a lot of the Hanna-Barbera stuff and they just post-apocalyptic it.
Now you said, go ahead. Sorry.
And the Wacky Raceland was one of them, and it was written by our guy here, Ken Pontiac.
So I'm surprised you didn't call out the other thing Ken did. A little video game called Clay Fighters.
I was going to save that actually for David.
Oh, okay.
And so another thing Ken did was Happy Tree Friends, and he helped create its spinoff, Kapow. Do you remember Happy Tree Friends?
I do.
So, David Blemon, Ichiko, he was a producer on the Box Trolls, as well as the director of the Clay Fighters video game. One of my favorite fighting games. It plays like shit. He was also a producer on the PJs. So this guy has
the PJs.
He's like really helping a lot of people with claymation stuff. And I really like that.
Both of these guys. And you know what? Thinking about it now, both of these guys, they never really played around with common animation of the time.
Right. A lot of experimental stuff.
Exactly. I saw, Ken did an episode of Reboot. No matter how much I hate Reboot, it still was... You wasn't seeing any CGI cartoons at that time.
No, not at all.
Yeah, so I like it. I like the fact that these guys are just kind of taking some chances out there, doing some wild, different styles of animation. But they do love claymation, I'll tell you what.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, I would argue that claymation is probably the hardest art form of animation.
Yeah.
Like, because there's stop motion where you could use like action figures like Robot Chicken, and that's challenging. But like, I feel like claymation is cranking that up to 11. Because if you like almost all of these shows, oddly enough, this one didn't get canceled for that reason. But if you look at any claymation show, the number one reason it gets canceled is because it's so expensive to make.
So pricey.
Unfortunately, this one just got corporate overtaking is the reason that Bump of the Night got canceled. The Walt Disney Corporation came in, bought, ABC, the ABC network, and then changed their Saturday morning lineup to be, their shows, and Bump of the Night just didn't make the cut.
I hate it when that stuff happens, but hey.
Yeah, it's definitely not my favorite thing that happens with that kind of stuff.
Such is the way of that business.
Such is the way of most businesses under capitalism.
Well, I think every business, if you're not making money off of something, you probably got to cut.
If you're not making money, yeah. Unless
And
you're the
I-
auto industry. You
and
get
I
bailed
don't-
out.
I really don't think there was see, they could have made toys. I don't know if they did. I couldn't find any toys.
No, I didn't see any toys.
But maybe it was just too weird for the adults to understand that kids would have loved toys of these characters.
I think Disney just didn't care because every single ABC show got scrapped. It wasn't because it was weird or expensive or anything. It just wasn't. It wasn't in Disney's lineup. They didn't care about it because they didn't make it.
Makes sense.
I mean, it's really a cut and dry. This isn't our shit. Get it out of here. You now are part of the Walt Disney Corporation, and you will have Walt Disney corporate approved shows.
Resistance is futile.
Resistance
We are
to the
Walt
mouse
Disney.
is futile. Yeah, it's how South Park portrays Mickey Mouse.
Yep.
That's really what it's like. What the hell is all this shit?
Oh.
But yeah,
But that's you got any more to say about the two creators?
just two creators just seemed like they seem like really passionate guys about claymation, and I really hope that they stick. Like, I really hope that they push forward. I'm very curious. So James Gunn, he has introduced a new animation movie.
Okay.
And it's really cool if you can watch the behind the scenes of it, but it's like this like weird stop motion but also puppeteering movie
Ooh,
that involves
interesting.
like I think it's Dick Grayson and Jason Todd, and it's like Brave and the Bold, but it's those two, and they're supposed to be like, I think they're supposed to be robbing at the same time or something because they're both kids.
Okay.
And if you can get a chance to look at it behind the scenes stuff on YouTube, it's really neat. And I think it would be pretty cool if those two guys were behind it, and I would be very surprised if they weren't,
Yeah.
because it just seems like that's definitely the experimental animation that like gets the blood pumping
Yeah.
in both of them. So
I could see that. All right. Well, hit us with the voice actors now, Andrew.
all right, if you didn't tell immediately, but the voice cast of Bump in the Night, Jim Cummings is Mr. Bumpy, Destructo, Brain, Closet Monster, Fish, Heart, and Stomach. Because, I mean, if you didn't know that Jim Cummings was Mr. Bumpy, you're deaf.
You have no ears.
Rob Paulson is Squishington, Dad, Computer, and a Scientist. Gail Mathis is Molly Coddle. Scott McAfee is The Boy. Andy McAfee is Little Sister. And Jackie Kaway is Little Robot and Big Robot.
Okay.
For their other works, we have... Oh, yeah, okay. For Jim Cummings, he is the Goon Guard in Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom.
Okay.
I think Goon meant something else. Now it means something completely different.
Yep.
Rob Paulson is Bonker in Clay Fighter 63 and a third, and the Sculptor's Cut sequel. Gail Mathis is Martha in Bobby's World.
Okay.
Scott McAfee is Willie Watt in Batman Beyond.
Ooh, Batman Beyond.
And
Watt.
Andy McAfee is Lauren Taylor in Baywatch. And finally, Janice Kaway is Jenny, or XJ9, in My Life is a Teenage Robot.
I'm a teenager and a robot.
It's pretty close to what the theme song is, actually. I actually, we could cover it probably. It's probably one of the lesser known Nicktoons, I'd say.
Yeah. I remember it coming out kind of around that same time as like Danny Phantom was coming out.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, roughly around that time.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about this cartoon. One, it's this. So as Ken Pontiac being a writer on Gumby, I would almost say that this show is 90s Gumby.
Okay.
Like he's even green. You know what I mean? Like, cause like if you ever watch Gumby, he's just going on weird, quirky little adventures in like a kid's room during the day with Pokey. That's it. And that's what Mr. Bumpy does. He just goes on adventures at night and he eats dirty socks. And instead of the blockheads, it's Destructoid how do you say his name again? Fuck. Destructo, excuse me. He's like trying to stop him because Mr. Bumpy's kind of like an extreme. He's an extreme with an attitude and he'll give a mess kind of character. And so like he's a little bit Gumby. And then obviously, you know, Squishington is a toilet monster. So that's your Pokey. I mean, they're almost the same. Like Pokey was timid, Squishington is timid. The only thing that's different is this one has a girl character in Molly Coddle.
They got like progressive.
Yeah, there you go. She's like she's basically a Raggedy Ann doll, but she's like made of different parts.
Okay, the truest of Raggedy Ann dolls.
Yeah, she's just kind of like stitched together with different doll parts, but you could tell she was once a Raggedy Ann doll, I guess.
Okay.
So for the most part, this show is split up into two different episodes per. Sometimes they'll go for the full half an hour, but they always end with a karaoke segment where Mr. Bumpy sings to you.
That might be the best.
You know, Jim
ever.
Cummings is a good singer. But do you think people who sing when they're doing voices, do you think they can sing in real life? Like, do you think they can sing with their regular voice, or they're only doing an impression of a character that can sing? You know what I mean?
I think any voice actor can probably sing somewhat. Like, if you got that much control of your voice,
that's true.
I feel like you should be able to at least maybe, you know, carry a note.
Yeah, I mean, that's
especially someone like Jim Cummings, who, I mean, he is really talented, but it would be hilarious. Like, he can't sing, like, he has to do someone else's voice to be able to sing.
Yeah. Well, there are some voice actors where they have the singing, like the Donkey Kong Country.
Yep.
There was a singing voice, and then there was a regular voice actor voice. Actually, right. Jim Cummings is such a good singer. This is probably a pretty widely known fun fact, but give me like 2 seconds. I gotta
go for it.
Yeah, okay. I was about to get it wrong. So Jeremy Irons, who voices Scar, he has a signature song, Be Prepared, right?
Yep.
That's not him singing. He had a sore throat the day they were singing, and Jim Cummings took over.
Really?
Yeah, that's how much of a talent he is. Like, the only way you'll be able to hear Jim Cummings' voice now is if someone tells you it's not Jeremy Irons. It's Jim Cummings. Because once someone told me that, I was like, no fucking way. And you go back and you listen, and you're like, oh shit, that is Jim Cummings taking over, which is an incredible voice talent.
He is one of the best.
And I'm almost halfway convinced Rob Paulson is the one doing the women's voice in the theme song's intro. Because if you hear it, it just sounds like him doing a high-pitched voice.
Yeah.
I'm like 80% sure. If this show ever gets popular enough to ask him, I'm going to ask him. And then I'm going to also ask him to do an impression of Bonker. See if he even remembers doing that clown.
I doubt it.
Yeah, it's almost like who's the guy who played the Lich in Adventure Time? What's his name?
I
Sons of
don't remember.
Anarchy.
Ron
Perlman. So like they asked him, you know, how did you feel playing Ron Perlman, or how did you feel playing the Lich? Did you have to like get into a dark space? He goes, I don't remember any of it. Because he's like, if you look back, like the Lich, like he goes, I recorded all my lines like in 30 minutes. He doesn't talk that much. I just said my lines and I left. And he goes, I'm sorry that this character impacted you guys so much, and that like I do not have any recollection. But there's probably a few of them. I feel like many voice actors outside of their iconic roles, because of course, like Peter Cullen absolutely knows that Optimus Prime. I don't even know if Jim Cummings would remember he was Mr. Bumpy, but he seems like a guy who might.
I
know
feel
what
like
I mean?
I feel like he has done. I mean, like if you just look on his Wikipedia, it says he's done almost 400 different roles.
Yeah.
It's hard to imagine anybody being able to remember all of those roles, but I feel like for some reason Jim Cummings would be that one individual that you would be like, hey, do Mr. Bumpy, and he would just pull it right out of his ass.
Yeah, right out of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as the show is concerned, it's really good animation for cable. It's obviously not a movie budget of claymation animation. That would be insane. That's what took down the BJs.
Yep. And
so, like, Mr. Bumpy is very malleable, and I always enjoy that in claymation when they play with the fact that they're clay. Yeah. And since everybody is kind of either a toy or Mr. Bumpy and Squishington, they're just straight up monsters.
Yeah.
I also like the closet monster. He's made of just clothing. So like when they piece him together, his hands like a bunch of socks and shirts and shit.
That's great. And
I like it. You can tell that a lot of creative muscles were being flexed during the creation of this thing. And you can watch it all on Tubi. You can even watch the Christmas special, which we might review later. You can watch it all on Tubi. And I think it was because, so I figured this out lately.
Okay.
Or during the research of the show. So there's a lot of Deke Entertainment shows on Tubi.
Yeah.
And then this show is on Tubi. And do you know why? Despite not being in the production of it at all, when Walt Disney Corporation bought ABC, Deke decided to buy the intellectual property of Bump in the Night.
Really?
So that's why it's on Tubi with the rest of them. Old Andy Hayward, but he never did anything with it, probably because claymation costs too much. And he'll be good goddamn if he spends money on animation.
There's a reason he makes companies money. He just slashes the budget. Crazy.
You can tell in every creation he's ever been a part of, it's like 2 frames a second animation, and it's just like
good old Dick.
No value whatsoever.
None. Zero.
But yes, I mean, it's really good. I guess, these things happen in the big market. Sometimes good shit just goes by the wayside.
Yeah.
But Joel, it's time for your new reoccurring segment, Reviews That Go Bump in the Night and Reviews That Sleep in the Day.
Ooh, nice.
Thank you.
So this is sitting at an 8.0 out of 10, total of 689 ratings.
We are on like a streak of shit not cracking 1,000.
I know, man.
Not a single K in months.
Hey, then it belongs on our podcast. So
that's fair. That's very solid.
this thing has a cult following. People love this. Could not find a 1-star review. So I've got a 10 out of 10 titled Love Bumpy. I absolutely love this show. I was delighted to find it after not being able to remember the title. The animation claymation with real life backgrounds is brilliant. The voice actors are perfect. The characters are perfectly weird. The stories are cute and funny. Overall, this is just a great series that unfortunately was canceled too soon. That's it.
I agree full-heartedly.
I do
Although
too.
I do feel like I would have said they probably had another season in them.
I feel like the creators probably. I don't think it would have been a show that would have ran like SpongeBob or like multi seasons. But I think if it didn't get canceled, maybe they would have squeezed out 1-2 more seasons at best.
Because then it just doesn't overstay its welcome. You can tell like people wanted more of it, but it's like there are some shows where like you get more of a good thing, and you're like, all right, wrap it up. Any bad reviews?
Nope, no bad reviews. Couldn't find a single one.
I believe that wraps up Bump in the Night. Any closing thoughts, Joel?
Check it out. It's worth, even just for the theme song, it's worth it just for that.
It's worth it for the karaoke at the end of every episode alone.
Yep.
But yeah, I found myself laughing a lot at this one. It's just good old like dude with an attitude 90s style show. I don't know. It's very good when you're nostalgic for something and it pays
Yeah, actually
off.
hits the spot.
Yeah, like hits the spot. You're like, oh wow, this was pretty good. Cool.
This is what I wanted. Great.
Well, if you would like to support the show, you can go to patreon.com/cartoondd. There we have the $5 tier. It has mega requests that go to the top of the list. No matter what, we send you stickers and pins and hopefully more straight to your door. Bonus episodes and regular episodes with extended audio. They add nothing to the actual show, but they are fun to listen to. I've learned that I need to say, you learn more about us as people, which, you
might want to.
Maybe you want to. We have a website where you can send regular requests to, cartoondumpsterdive.com. There you can send a regular request or go to a store and buy some merchandise. We have an X handle, CartoonDD. We are Cartoon Dumpster Dive on all other social media platforms. And as always, we appreciate a 5-star review on the podcasting platform of your choice so we can keep bumping around at night and recording these episodes. Have a great rest of your week.
And see you.
Cartoon cunt. That's a different website.
Yeah, be careful with that one.
This has been a Lughole podcast.